Just 1% of employees at Australia's largest companies are people with disabilities. That's despite the fact that almost 20% of the population live with a disability. This is just one extraordinary statistic that the Disability Royal Commission has uncovered this week as they look at the barriers to workforce participation. Because the unemployment rate among disabled Australians is 53.4%, and advocates say that's not just bad for those with a disability, but for the economy more broadly. The Drum's Stephanie Bolchi has more.
Belinda O'Connor says she's been made to feel like an outsider at work.
I have felt neglected. I feel as though people don't actually genuinely care about disability access. Sometimes I don't even feel human.
As a person with vision impairment, she needs to consider the glare and has technology specifically tailored to her.
When we first start, we quite often don't get our assisted technology reasonable adjustments in place for a couple of weeks, sometimes even a couple of months.
She's one of the 4% of Australian public service workers who say they live with a disability. But the union says it could be as high as 8%, with many too scared to identify as such.
We feel as though they just don't care. And so what this leads to is expectations that are low for disabled people, and we feel as though this also leads to being in a culture where it's okay to be neglected.
The former Disability Discrimination Commissioner says he has a personal experience of that.
When the employer shows us that we won't be treated negatively, we will tell them about our disability and we will share any impacts that that has.
The private sector also needs to do more. Based on HR records, at IBM, only 5 out of more than 3,000 employees identified their disability. At RMIT, 22 out of 7,700 employees. And just 0.5% of all employees at Kmart said that they lived with disability, while 1,700 of the more than 200,000 Woolworths employees disclosed. All record the information differently, but even through anonymous surveys, none would have more than 5% of their workforce as people with disability.
So while I recognise there's not a policy around employing people with disability, I would say that nonetheless Woolworths has taken a number of steps to encourage people and to remove barriers.
I'd accept in the past that there no doubt will have been people who have had difficulty accessing roles, but we're doing everything we can as we're moving forward now to address those issues.
Belinda O'Connor hopes with the public spotlight, attitudes and systems will change sooner rather than later.
We have the expertise. We know what needs to be done. We know what the solutions are. And all we need is for the employers to listen to us and action what it is that we're asking.